The first thing we're going to do is put together the aluminium frame, which is the base of the aquarium. It comes partially assembled. There are three walls, a left wall, a right wall and a middle wall, and they are easily identifiable by the feet. When you look at the feet, on the left wall you will see the feet go in towards the right, on the right wall the feet go in towards the left, and on the middle wall the feet go to both sides. Front and back is also easily identifiable because at the front of each of the walls there is a small part of the profile of the aluminium which sticks out from the rest of the frame. We start by taking the left-hand wall and laying it on the ground, and then we're going to start attaching the rest of the aluminium parts to it. I strongly recommend that whenever we're using the electric screwdriver, we are always pushing down onto a hard surface like the floor. This will make sure the screws go in properly the first time. In the box marked aluminium frame, you will find two sets of aluminium parts, a short and a long. All of the short parts go on the left hand side of the aquarium, and all of the long ones go on the right hand side. Afterwards, this will be, the short side is for your chiller side and the long side is for the sump. So the first thing to do is differentiate between the two sets of aluminium parts. In the instruction manual we identify very easily each one of the different aluminium parts, but you'll see some have 2 brackets, some have 4 brackets, and some have no brackets. As we go through, I'll indicate exactly which part I'm taking to assemble. For the whole of this operation, for the frame, we're using a screw which comes in a screw pack marked Screw Pack A. There should be a couple of packets of these in your box, depending on which model you have. And in the instruction manual, it's referred to as Screw S1. There are 2 holes in each bracket, and we are going to put a screw into each one of the holes. All of these holes are pre-prepared in the aluminium frame, so you're not making any new holes in the aluminium at all. If you haven't got holes in the aluminium, there's a good chance you've taken the wrong part, and go back to the manual, look at the parts and make sure you've got the right part in your hand. This is the back top part of the frame, and you're taking the aluminium with 2 brackets on either end. Okay. Alright, when you start doing this, make sure your torque setting is set fairly high, because we are putting a self-tapping screw into aluminium. Even though it is pre-drilled, it still needs the high torque. And also make sure that you are giving good pressure in the direction of the screwing. 2 in each bracket. It's also important to point out that I'm using a bit with an extension on it, because otherwise you cannot get deep enough into the bracket. You now carry on putting in the various parts according to the instruction. However, pay attention to the hole pattern on each of the parts. Some of them look very similar, like these two, but here, for example, you'll see there are no holes, and here you'll see there are many holes. Okay, so we've completed stage 1. I'm now going to lift this up and put it on the side, and in its place I'm going to lay down the middle frame, and I'll put this on top of the middle frame and again screw down towards the floor. So I put the middle frame now on the floor, and I take what we've already assembled and lay it down like this, and then screw in all of the parts. We've now screwed it together. I'm now going to turn it over so that we can add the aluminium parts properly to the other side. Okay, so we've finished this part of the process. We're now going to put this on one side while I lay down the right hand frame on the floor. And I'm going to turn this over, put it in position, and then screw this part to the right hand frame. For the next stage of the process, we're going to turn the frame and put it on the top so we can get to the bottom, add the last parts of the frame and the legs. So let me have the long one. Thank you. Put the holes on the bottom, fit it in here, and I need a screw, one screw in either end. One second, and the screwdriver. This is the only time in the process we are screwing not against something that's firm. Now the second side. After we've put in the two middle bars, we're now going to put screws into all of the foot plates on the other parts. So one at a time. Now that we've screwed all of the screws into the foot plates, we're going to add on our 9 legs. First we'll do the 4 in the corner, and we're going to leave those much higher than we are the ones in the middle, and this makes it much easier to do the leveling of the aquarium later on. We screw them in, leaving it about 1 centimetre above the plate. Okay, we're now going to put the other 5 legs on and screw them right the way down so they don't interfere with the leveling process. They will, of course, afterwards be weight bearing, so it's important to have them there. So now we've put the legs on, we're ready to turn the stand over. Still not the final position, so you're able to put it where it's comfortable for working. So the next thing to do is to put in these rubber plugs to protect all of the screws. Even though they're all stainless, we want to keep as much protection against the salt as possible. So we put them in a number of places, and all of the places are clearly marked in the instruction manual. They just pop into the brackets like that. So we've completed building the frame, and the next stage of the process is to turn it into the complete cabinet. First thing we're going to do is prepare our panel holders, and then we're going to put the panel holders onto the frame, one stage at a time. This is our panel holder, and we need to take the wooden dowel and put it into the smaller of the 2 holes on the side with the help of a mallet, and make sure that we have about 10 millimeters of the wood sticking out. Using our same S1 screw that we've used up until now, we're going to attach 8 of these panel holders to the frame, 4 on each side, 2 on the top and 2 on the bottom. The top ones go in this orientation, so it is flat with the top, and the bottom ones go in this orientation, flat with the bottom. 2 screws through the sides. Thank you. We're now going to add the top and bottom plinth. You'll find these parts in the trim pack. They are almost the same, but the bottom one is smooth and the top one has 3 of these brackets attached to it already. To attach the bottom one, we're going to use our screw S4 and a screw cover, and we're going to attach it through the bottom aluminium into the pre-drilled holes. Let's lift it into position like this. Because this is a plastic part, you should be using a hand screwdriver and not the electric one. When the screw is firmly in position, just close the screw cover. And there are 3 positions, 1, 2, and the third one on the other side. Okay, so we're now going to add the upper plinth. You'll see there are 3 brackets. In this case, unlike when we were building the frame, we're only going to put 1 screw in each bracket. It's the screw hole furthest from the plinth itself. And this just slides onto the front. Okay, we'll hold it in position and we'll screw in the 3 screws. I've now brought the side panel from the cabinet pack. There are 2, the left and the right. You'll notice the difference by this cutout in the bottom front corner. That is the right side and the mirror image is the left side. We prepare the panel by screwing in the 4 bolts in the 4 positions 1, 2, 3, 4. While looking at the panel in this position, I want you to pay attention to another 4 holes here, here, here and here. And we're going to be using those holes later when we attach the panel to the frame itself. That's 2 at the top. And 2 at the bottom. Okay, the side panel is now ready for assembly on the frame. So to assemble the panel onto the frame, we've got to align the 4 bolts on the panel to the 4 wooden dowels on the frame, and it all just pushes together. So I'll line up the bottom, holes against holes, and the same on the top. And just a little bit of jiggling and it will pop into place. Like that. With a screwdriver, we turn the cams on the panel holders to secure it into position. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, to complete attaching the side panels to the frame, on each side we're going to add 4 screws. Each one is in one of these countersunk holes. They should go in very nicely with a regular manual screwdriver. If you have difficulty, use the electric. if you are using the electric, make sure you put on a very low torque setting. Okay, we open up the pipe clip set and we'll find 5 clips, 3 long screws and 2 short screws. The 2 short screws and 2 of the pipe clips we're going to use in a little while on the rear wall, and these 3 and the 3 screws we're now going to attach to the underside of the base plate of the aquarium. These clips will be used shortly for attaching the whole pipe system to the inside of the sump chamber. As the base plate here is all from plastic, I prefer to use a manual screwdriver instead of the electric one. Notice the direction, because this is the direction of the pipe work that's going to clip onto it afterwards. Now that we've prepared the base plate, we're going to attach it to the frame. We do that in 2 ways. First of all, we're going to take 4 wooden dowels and push them with the aid of a mallet into the 4 holes prepared in the top of the aluminium, 2 on each side, front and back. Then we're going to take the plate, turn it over and set it down on the holes, and then we're going to attach it with 6 screws from underneath. Okay, we're now going to pick up the baseboard, place it on top, aligning the wooden dowels with the holes in the bottom side, foam side of course up. This hole where the pipes go through is in the back right hand corner. Okay, and then just push it in position. We're now going to take 6 screws, 3 on the front and 3 on the back. We're going to put them through pre-drilled holes in the aluminium, and they screw into the plastic base plate itself. Again, when it's plastic, I prefer using the manual screwdriver. Okay, so we are taking the innermost hole and putting it through the aluminium into the pre-drilled hole also in the plastic. And close the screw cover when it's home firm. Next stage in the process is putting the sliders on for the drawer. That goes down in this section here. It varies slightly from model to model, but it's all basically the same principle. This is the 500, and we have a spacer, an aluminium spacer that sits between the slider and the frame, and a screw goes right the way through in the marked places into the side of the cabinet. So we're going to screw these 2 screws into the holes here on the side frame. Let go in there like that. With the 2 drawer sliders in place, we're now going to put the bottom plate underneath that connects it all together. We're now going to prepare the rear board before we assemble it on the frame, and we just take 2 clips that we didn't use before, the screw from the back, the clip from the front, and we just screw that into position, the 2 of them, like so. And that's 2. Now, to make it easier to see how this is attached to the frame, we've turned the frame round, and this is now going to be screwed into the back side of the sump compartment. Okay, we attach the rear frame using the S2 screws and screw covers in all of the holes, top, middle, bottom, and the 2 sides. On this one there's about 20 screws to put in, and they should all line up with screw holes already in the aluminium.